What is up, guys? It is Wednesday, October 23rd. Felt it was important to talk about a red flag that I saw today and what I plan to do for the rest of the week. So, let's recap Sunday's video. I said if we can get back above, this is Tesla after hours, after earnings. If we can get back above this 234, 235 breakout area, then the shorts would be stuck, right? This obviously only matters how we open tomorrow. I want to look at some things we talked about in our last video. So we haven't actually broken out of the larger consolidation, but we did come up short. And I said in my last video, if they come up short of a number, likely they're going to break it the next time they go up. However, if you look at the pullback from this area, see how, let me zoom into this. See how I said if they don't come back into the breakout area and sweep it for the next leg higher, then it's not going to hold and it's going to fail. And see how they just gapped below it and then just failed there. This is a perfect example of not trapping shorts before pushing higher. And I'm curious to see where we open tomorrow, because this type of pullback from here to here, that was more than a 75% pullback down, which means this break isn't likely going to go much higher. We also have, I just have this on my chart for now, the 50 EMA on the 4 hour is in a downward trend still. So to me, this would still be a short the rip situation. I'm curious to see if they can get back down to this 207 area, 207.21 area. If you were to zoom out on the daily, I haven't done this yet, so let's look at this together. So let's say this was the buyer, right? This was the institutional buyer that shoved the market up. Let's make this one bright white so we can see it stand out above all the others. I want to see if that's important or not, if there truly is a buyer there, because I think my buyer was at 207 and 182, not at 213.50. So let's zoom out a little bit and see if this has ever done anything substantial. So let's go to the daily first. You can see where my line is, this red line. See when they came into this and they just gapped below it, and then they came back into it and it became support, right? Look at this white line here. I don't see any, see here they didn't even come down to it. I don't see any real institutional. Now I guess you have one there. You do have a move there. So it's possible. We can see what that does. So we'll mark that from there to here, and we'll drag this over and see what it does over the next few weeks. It's very possible that might work, but so if that were the case, where is the target? 257.50 is going to be your target. So we'll leave those in white and we'll keep a track on that. But I kind of think, even the daily 50 is even though it's been in an upward trend, it's starting to roll over. I'm curious to see if we can open below 234.80. If we come back down to this 207 area, that would be a heck of a move. Let's look over at SPX, because we talked about this in the video. I said on the weekly, I said right now everything is bullish. There's no reason to be bearish. And I said if they were going to go higher, we talked about fair value gaps. If they were going to go higher, it would be off of this area from this candle's high to this candle's low, right? So as of right now, that's holding, right? Except, I think the fact that they actually broke below this is my red flag. I don't think, unless it's just one heck of a bear trap, I don't think that's a good sign for the market that we broke below 57.65 here on the weekly today. I'm kind of thinking, and the reason I think this, let's go back to the other video, the other breakout. What happened here? They came up short so the next time they could break it, but what did they do? They never came back in to trap shorts, right? They never came back in to trap shorts. They bounced early. And what do I say about bouncing early? It means the next time they go for it, it's going to break. That would also coincide with the 50-day moving average. And then the weekly is way down here. We have room, I think, to come all the way down. If we break that, and I'm going to do this on SPY so you can see what I'm talking about too, but I'm kind of thinking that this fair value gap is not being respected. And I don't think it's an all-time high sweep, because they usually would have, like this, they would have broken the prior week and then pulled down. But I am curious to see if we get a further pullback. And I really like breaking this area. And what we'd want to do is look for 25% of this pullback to hold. So we'd want it to pierce this 50-day and come down here into this area of support in this 75% of this pullback to really trap shorts, right? And then break higher. So tomorrow, maybe we can go a little bit higher, but I'm still looking for further down. I'm looking at this 5600 area. Let's look over at SPY real quick, and then I'll pretty much leave you alone. So the same thing here. So we had the weekly fair value gap was not respected. See how this one, let's look at this one here. See how this fair value gap was respected? And really, they didn't even get below the midpoint before pushing it back up and then retesting it again and pushing it back up. They only got into like the 25% and then pushed it back up for a new push. That's really what you want to see, because when you see fair value gaps being disrespected, like this one, this is kind of the move that I'm looking for, right? Choppy but down to pull back into this area. And you've kind of got a gap where they've like physically gapped in the weeks here, from here to here, and they kind of did it twice. If I can get that to work. But there's kind of a liquidity gap in this area right here, in this area right here, that, I mean, clearly they've filled it at this point, but I'm curious to see if that will flip to be the next support, which would be 555 area, which would coincide with a nice deep pullback to trap shorts. You know, 557 to 555 area That would be interesting to see. So I just wanted to give you my thoughts on that. If for some reason we were closed a week below 565, that would be probably a top for me, because yeah, I think that would qualify as a reversal, because you would close below this candle here, and then potentially, if they want to, they would break this, and then they have all the way down here to this 100% move down here to go even lower. But I just wanted to say that real quick. Everybody right now is talking about how bullish they are going into tomorrow on YouTube, because they tested the prior breakout and bounced. But I don't know, man. I'm not convinced. If they were going to trap some shorts, they wouldn't have just pierced it by a few cents. They would have really trapped some shorts here down in this 572.50 area. So I'd be looking for that into Friday to be safe, 572 area, and then with the potential to come back down here and break this major 565 level. Remember I said at the beginning of the year, we used to be at like 484, 474, 464. This year the trend has been fives, so pretty even numbers, right? 585, 575, 565, 555. So I think 555, I'm going to call it now, is going to be our next destination on SPY. Might not happen this week. We might come back up and retrace this area. We haven't created a fair value gap lower yet. So you would need for this candle to somehow create a gap in here, which could overlap with this physical gap right here. That would be an interesting place to go short at 579, 580, up to 580.40 area, and see if they can keep this gap open tomorrow. If they do, then I think Friday we can start heading lower and into next week be in the 555 area. So just wanted to give you that thought. As far as some of our swing trades right now, in is just like unstoppable. What an epic move. Nobody's talking about this yet. I think it's still got higher to go. Curious to see when we're going to get a gap and go on that one. But we really, once we clear that 1056 area, let's see, you know, this major resistance here, once we clear that, you know, you could get a pretty nice squeeze in a day or two and see up there. So if you want to try like 12 or 13 calls for a lotto, you know, that might be pretty interesting going into next week. It's good for till November 15th, so we got some time on that one. It'd be interesting to see if that plays out. Zillow, we kind of talked about this one, which they're really killing it right now. It is technically holding the 50-day moving average. I'd kind of like to see it sweep under there a little bit before next week's reversal, because I'm always early. Never wrong, just early. But we are trapping some shorts here, because this would have been the prior pivot high, right? And what did we do? We broke down into here to get some shorts, thinking that it's going to collapse and fill this gap down here. And what's it going to do? It's going to reverse probably midway through this candle and push higher. So I still like Zillow long for now, especially if the market does kind of bounce for a couple days. I could see us getting back in to sweep these highs and get into this little area of see how this is a gap also that hasn't really been filled in with the solid body candle yet. See there where it just gapped over it that way and then gapped over it that way, and there's no candle body that's like actually closed in that, right? We wanted to see that. So I think this is still going to run to 65. I still like Zillow. LAN, all the other ones are looking the same way. I'm not in this one, but see, this one already broke, but it has the potential to get some shorts trapped here, sweep this liquidity, and that looks like a pretty good reversal candle to push back higher. So LEN might be a good play into Friday. And then this one kind of came out of nowhere today, but we'll kind of look at it and I'll see what I was thinking. I don't know. It looks like trash now. Never mind. Just ignore that one. So that's about it. Zillow long, LEN long if you want to. In. It's not too late if you want to try that. And then Tesla. I'm curious to see what that does in the morning. I think I'm going to try to take a short down to this 207 area and see what that does. So if they were going to push higher and try to trap any longs, they're going to have to break this area. So you could put a little line on there, temporary line, to see if they can get over 244 and then start selling off. I think it's interesting. Everybody was talking about 240 calls and they stopped at 239.45. The high of today was 240.35. So they got to 240 and then rejected. So I'm just going to go in short on Monday and see, or on Thursday, see what happens on that one. Anyway, yeah, keep an eye on SPY and see what it does at the end of the week. QQQ might be a little bit stronger going into the end of the week, but we're still respecting this fair value gap right now. We came in and swept the high there. We swept it one more time here before the ultimate reversal and made a little bit of money playing down to 857. And I think that was a good place to get out. You can't ever call the I can't say you can't call the bottom. I mean, what happened here was they ran a test of this order block and into this fair value gap right here. Oops, not that one. Into this bar right here. And what did they do? They bounced, right? They got into that order block. They stayed above the top half and they bounced. So there's potential to come back up into this area, retest here. Short stop loss is going to be up here at 494. So if for some reason they can tag that, which would also be the prior breakout area, 494. So I'm curious to see if we can even get there. If we do sweep 494 and start to reverse, I would look for another move lower. Your next move lower is going to be this gap fill here, 475. And there is maybe a reason to retest this candle here. So that would be interesting to see. If I was long, my stop loss would be under here, right? The stop loss would be right here, under this, and maybe under here. So what are they likely going to do when you have those two stop losses close together? They're going to bounce early and then take it, right? So look for that kind of move. Come down, bounce early, find that resistance, and then take it. And then we can start looking for a reversal. But yeah, I'm curious to see if that plays out. So have a good night.